Today, we're diving into the absolutely monumental life of a scholar, a revolutionary, and the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar.
This one sentence, spoken right before a defiant act of just drinking water, really captures the entire essence of his lifelong struggle for basic human dignity. So let's explore the journey that led him to that profound moment.
So here's how we're going to trace his extraordinary path. We'll look at it in 5 key stages, from a boy who was denied water to the man who literally shaped a nation's destiny.
Okay, let's begin with his early life, where the brutal, everyday reality of the caste system forged an absolutely unshakable resolve in him. Think about what that meant. He was born into the untouchable Mahar caste. At school, he had to sit apart from everyone else. He wasn't even allowed to touch the water tap himself. He had to wait for the school peon and attendant to pour water into his hands. And if the peon wasn't there, well, young Bhimrao went thirsty. That daily humiliation lit a fire in him, a quest for equality that would define his entire life.
So, how do you fight a system that's been in place for centuries? For him, the answer was clear. Education became his weapon. Just look at this timeline. He built an intellectual arsenal from the world's best universities that was pretty much unmatched by anyone around him.
So he comes back to India, armed with this world-class education. But he's not just a barrister looking for a comfortable job. No, he's a leader, and he's ready for a fight. Let's see how he put that intellectual arsenal to work.
And in 1927, he led 2 incredibly powerful movements. First, the Mahad Satyagraha. He marched with thousands of Dalits to a public water tank and drank from it. A simple act, but a profound statement that they, too, were human. Second, he publicly burned the Manusmriti, an ancient Hindu text that laid out the rules of the caste system. It was a symbolic act, like he was trying to burn down the very idea of inequality itself.
Now, on the political front, he gets into this huge clash with none other than M.K. Gandhi. The British proposed something called the Communal Award, which would give the depressed classes their own separate electorates. And Ambedkar saw this as a crucial political safeguard. But Gandhi? He hated the idea. He thought it would break Hindu society apart forever and started a fast unto death to stop it. The whole country was on edge.
So you've got this incredible standoff. The whole situation gets resolved by something called the Poona Pact of 1932. Now, Ambedkar was under massive pressure, and he had to give up the demand for separate electorates. But what he got in return, well, that's where this number comes in.
And this right here just shows what a brilliant strategist he was. He conceded on the mechanism of voting, but he more than doubled the actual number of reserved seats for his community. It was a huge political victory won from a position of incredible pressure.
All these fights, all these struggles against social and political injustice, they were all leading up to what would become his most lasting legacy, shaping the very foundation of a newly independent India.
And here's the profound irony, right? The man who as a boy was forced to sit on a separate mat in his classroom, the man who was denied a simple drink of water, was now handed the pen to write the rule book for the rights of every single Indian. It's just incredible.
And don't just take my word for it. His work ethic was so legendary that the president of the entire assembly, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, gave him this powerful tribute. He's essentially saying that picking Ambedkar for the job was the best decision they ever made. That's an unbelievable endorsement.
But you know, for Ambedkar, the Constitution was just the blueprint. The real heavy lifting was changing the social laws that controlled the daily lives of millions, and he was especially focused on the rights of women.
So, as India's very first law minister, he championed something called the Hindu Code Bill. And let me tell you, this thing was a radical attempt to tear down the patriarchal structures in Hindu society and give women real legal equality.
I mean, just look at what he was pushing for back in the 1950s, making monogamy the only legal marriage, giving daughters a real share of the family inheritance, letting women own property outright, and allowing for divorce. This was a full-on challenge to centuries of tradition.
But as you can imagine, he faced a massive backlash from conservative members even inside his own government. And when it became clear the bill wasn't going to pass the way he wrote it, he didn't just compromise. He resigned. It was a powerful statement. He essentially said, if we can't agree on basic equality for half our population, then I'm out.
That whole bitter experience, I think, led him to his final and maybe his most profound conclusion that for his people to be truly free, they needed a complete break from the past, both socially and spiritually.
So on October 14, 1956, in a city called Nagpur, Dr. Ambedkar sets in motion one of the largest mass religious conversions in modern history. And this number, that's just the count of people who converted right alongside him on that single day.
You know, this wasn't some snap decision. He spent over 20 years studying all the world's major religions. He ultimately chose Buddhism, an Indian-born faith, because it offered a path to human dignity without a caste system, one that was grounded in reason and morality.
And to make this break totally clear and final, he administered these 22 special vows. And these weren't just religious promises. They were a social and political manifesto, a clear blueprint for a brand new identity, completely free from the old order and built on that core principle of equality.
So, when you look at this entire incredible journey, from that little boy who was told no peon, no water, all the way to becoming the architect of a nation, and finally leading a spiritual revolution, it leaves us with a really provocative question. It makes you wonder, have we, as a society, truly grasped the radical, urgent call for human dignity that was at the absolute heart of his entire life's work?